Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Ted Lasso, an original series on the Apple TV Plus network, which I recently signed up for, only because Apple bundles some of their services that I use. So it just made sense to just sign up. And there's a few movies and TV shows on there that I've heard of that I will be reviewing. But starting off with Ted Lasso, it's a show that I had heard good things about from multiple people. So it was the first thing I checked out once I got the service. And let me say that I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the show. I thought it's very heartwarming. Kind of has like a Parks and Rec kind of positivity to it. But really, the show is very much like it has the heart and soul of almost every single 90s Disney sports movie that came out. And just kind of like a ridiculous premise that would never happen in the real world, yet every single person in the kind of show or movie has very like minimal reaction to. Because of that ridiculous premise, like the kind of the overall reality that exists in this show, like it's just too, it goes over the reality spectrum of enjoyment for me just a tad. Because it's like, I mean, despite the fact that I enjoy it, I enjoy the characters. It's because sports movie, sports TV. There's kind of an algorithm, an equation that comes along with something like that, especially like a Disney production. Even though I don't think this is Disney, this is Apple TV original. But they work closely with Disney. I mean, Steve Jobs invested in Pixar. They're very big bedfellows, Disney and Apple. But this one just was reeking of 90s Disney sports movies. Aside from there like being no kid as the lead character, it's got every other sports movie trope from that decade. But aside from my problems with that, it was good. I mean, it's very heartwarming, very positive. Positivity wins in this, which is very standard for like a family-friendly sports movie. But you have this coach, right, who's the premise of this that's so ridiculous is that, okay, so there's the owner of this soccer team, football team in the UK. I forget where they are exactly, in London. She gets a divorce from her husband. Her husband owns the soccer team. Through the divorce, she gets the soccer team. She's the owner of the soccer team. So in an attempt to ruin the soccer team, she decides to fire the coach, which they're not like a good soccer team anyway. They're very average. They fire the coach. And the reason for firing the coach is a very kind of woke reason. She's a female owner. He's a misogynistic coach that's, very, he's kind of the stereotypical misogynistic, homophobic kind of quote unquote man's man type of a coach. So she fires him, and then she hires this guy who's played by Jason Sudeikis, U.S. football coach, an actual American football sport, completely different from soccer. And he's just like a second tier college coach. They don't really specifically say, but he's somebody that took a nothing team and made them win whatever championship was available for their tier of ability. And so she hires him to coach, to kind of bury this team, which if your desire is to bury your team, like you definitely would probably, I mean, like going with somebody who doesn't even coach the sport would be good, but you wouldn't go with somebody that had this ability to turn a nothing team into a something team. Like you wouldn't even go with something like that. You would just go with somebody who's just a wet blanket, who doesn't know how to, like her ability to even ruin the team is obviously thwarted. Spoiler alert. for those that couldn't tell where this show was going to go, being a positive, heartwarming tale. That let's just say things work out well. Do they win the championship? I don't know, but do things work out well? What do you think? I compared it to a '90s Disney sports movie. What do you think's going to happen? So she gets this coach that's supposed to ruin her team, and the coach, to the credit of the writers of the show, doesn't know anything about soccer, right? But he brings along his assistant coach, who this guy's like just like obsessed with games. Like he goes on a date where he plays chess verbally with his date. And if you like chess, go watch Queen's Gambit. Great show as well. Far better, I would say. Overall, better. I mean, very similar. Kind of, if chess was a sport, it is a better sports movie. So they get this coach. His assistant coach is really the brains of the operation. Like Ted Lasso, the lead character, the coach, he's just really good with being positive. He's really good with bringing up the morale of a team. He's really good with kind of dealing with different personalities on a team. Like you can tell he's not just an idiot, but like as far as like a sports coach, he never really shows himself to be any kind of he's a good leader. Like he finds ways to get people to follow him. He's a good manager of people. But as far as the X's and O's of knowing how to like win games, he never really shows that ability. That all of that ability is placed in the assistant coach guy, who's a nice guy, right? They have a friendship that's sweet, but he has no idea. He has no idea what's going on. And then they also have this maintenance guy who actually knows the team and knows the sport. So they bring him in as kind of like it kind of makes sense. It has that Disney sports, 90s Disney sports movie kind of logic to it. Like you get certain pieces, these certain archetypes that if you bring them all together, then they're greater than the sum of their parts. But yeah, and of course, there's a lot of just typical you're going to have in a sports movie. Let's just run through. You're going to have like a young, cocky upstart. You're going to have a grizzled veteran that used to be the young, cocky upstart. And of course, there's going to be some drama between those two characters. And eventually, maybe they bond on some things. There's, of course, the kind of the female interest that can potentially act as a distraction. But she ends up being kind of, she's kind of like what's her in Parks and Rec, the nurse that like they write her into the show as being kind of like the medical supervisor for the city. It's like it's kind of loosely brought in, like she's kind of like this addition that's not really, or even better, it's the shoeshine guy from Parks and Rec, which I'm blanking on everybody's name. But with all that said, it's still heartwarming. It's still good. It has a positivity to it. There is this female character that plays that's like kind of anytime they're outside of kind of the soccer arena or whatever and walking through town, there's just like this girl who's playing soccer with random people around. And I thought she was going to be part of the team throughout the whole show. Never becomes part of the team. Kind of doesn't really have she's just like the most side character that has like the biggest, like she has an impact on the show in some ways. Kind of a weird character to like not be included. Like I kept thinking she was going to be added to the team and that was going to be like their secret weapon, because that was the one thing that didn't fall in line with the 90s sports movie Disney produced genre of films. But I did like the show. I have no idea how or where they could go with the season 2. I don't know where the drama would come from. Ted Lasso also has like a drama with his family. Obviously, he left. He has a wife and a kid. And there's a thing where he's like, they're getting a divorce. They're splitting up. And they never really go into that as much. He seems like a really nice guy, so it's kind of like the fact that they have to split up, maybe because he's going to the UK to coach this team. I don't really know. So there are holes in what's going on, I would say, emotionally, with some of the storylines. But again, if you're going into this knowing the universe of storytelling that this is kind of using, then it's all good. It's fun. It's fun. It's not great. It's not a great show, but it's a fun show. So if you're looking for a fun show that just makes you feel good, then I'd check out Ted Lasso if you have Apple TV Plus. You can, I'm sure, sign up for a free trial or whatever. But yeah, it was good, but I had my, like, it's not as good as like everybody. Like, I'm hearing a lot of positivity for the show, and it's just okay. It's okay. Like, if you're a big fan of those Disney sports movies, which I was, but I was also a child. I was also, in my preteens and teen years when those Disney sports movies came out. Then that's fine. But yeah, it shouldn't win any awards, that's for sure. Get yourself 2 free books you can read with your ear holes with Audible through my link, inspireddisorder.com/audible. That's AUDIBLE. Get yourself 2 free books when you sign up. That's 1 month free of Audible service. You get a free credit every month after that if you choose to stay with the service. That means 1 book every month, plus Audible originals, guided wellness programs, news, and so much more. Sign up now through my link, inspireddisorder.com/audible, and get yourself 2 free books. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com, and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a great day, everybody. Peace out!